So happy early autumn, everyone. I'm really enjoying, like I said in my previous video for 1,000 subscribers, the giveaway video, which I'll post a link to below. So you can go enter if you haven't yet, if you happen to miss that one. But I am just so enjoying the season, especially this year with Vincent. And the weather is just, it was really hot for the last few days and really humid. Sorry, I have some really bad allergies right now. So I am just so happy that the cool weather is back today, and it really feels like autumn again, and just absolutely loving the cooler weather in this time of year. And Mabon's almost here, and then after that we have Samhain, and just completely inspired, and I have so many different things that I want to do and share, and I'm really excited about all of that. But today I wanted to start this new series that I'm going to be doing, and in some ways this is really an homage to the Four Queens Tea and Tarot series. I have been so inspired after watching those videos. First of all, I'm a huge tea drinker too, and obviously a huge tarot fan, so I just love the combination of those two things together. And I actually really enjoy looking at each card individually and talking about what the meanings are for yourself, for other people, what the given meanings are, what you've actually experienced in reading with other people, and how the card on its own can be a really great meditational, affirmational device that helps you to move into being more of your true, authentic self. So I wanted to offer, as an homage of sorts, something like that myself, but I don't want to do the same thing, and I don't want to copy the Four Queens at all, because I so appreciate her work, and I think she's really bringing so much encouragement and change for us all. And her work is just amazing. So if you have not checked out and subscribed to her channel, please do that, because her work is incredible. And anyhow, I know I'm going off. I don't want to copy that. But I want to offer something of my own similar to that, because it's been such a great encouragement to me. So what I decided I wanted to do is more of like an oracle card, talking about different cards in different decks that have meant a lot to me. And I will throw some tarot cards in, but I'm not going to go through the whole tarot system the way that the Four Queens does. I may, however, perhaps do that with different oracle decks. Sorry about that. And the oracle deck that I want to start with is the Oracle of the Shapeshifters by Lucy Cavendish, with artwork by Jasmine Beckett Griffith. You might be thinking, holy hell, what a huge deck that is. This is actually the US and the UK versions combined. So this is the back, no, I'm sorry, not the UK, the Australian version and the US combined. This is the backing for the Australian deck, and this is the backing for the American deck. I'm going to be doing a video soon on the differences and the pros and cons to each one. I would recommend that you purchase both if it's in your budget. I think that together and I love combining them, and that's what I've done here, and I'm really like obsessed with this deck right now. I've been using it pretty much every day this week for myself, and also on some days for the Facebook page draws this week. But I am going to drink my tea today because Vincent's napping right now, and so when he naps, I try to enjoy a cup of tea. So, let's see, where was I? It will come. So, I've combined both of the decks. The American version has a little more of a bent towards teenagers, like the Oracle of Shadows and Light, which I don't really appreciate. I mean, I do appreciate it for younger people, and I think it's a great deck for younger people too, but I love to use it as an adult, and I think that its application is just as great for adults. So I primarily use the Oracle of the Shapeshifters Australian guidebook for this deck. So the card that I want to talk about today, and it's the card that showed up on Facebook earlier this week, is the Mermaid in a Koi Pond card. So for the Australian version, this is what the Mermaid in a Koi Pond looks like, and these are the keywords. Rediscover your individuality, become the dragon. In both decks it is card number 41. 4 and 1 is 5 in numerology. I'm a big 5 person. My birth number and things like that are all 5s. Everything kind of revolves around 5s. In tarot, my birth card is the Hierophant. So I have a real affinity for card numbers that reduce down to 5 in numerology. In the American version, here is the Mermaid in a Koi Pond. Same keywords, rediscover your individuality, become the dragon. So I love both of these images, but I'm really, really drawn to this week, this image. And I actually have, I was kind of naughty, I have two decks of the American version because where I work, I am able to offer it. And so I frame different cards at different times of the season. And for me right now, for this week, I have framed Mermaid in a Koi Pond upstairs in my workspace. And so I want to talk a little bit about what the card has meant for me and what it's meant when it shows up in readings for clients and for friends and things like that. So a lot of the message that this card has given me is that it's really about being your, kind of what I was saying earlier, about being your true authentic self. And it's really important to stop and reflect in every moment if you're actually being yourself or not. And if you're actually being true to who you are. And if you're not being true to who you are, why aren't you? And what do you need to change so that you are true to yourself? And this has been a journey of a lifetime for me, really. So this card showing up again is just a gentle reminder for me. And I think when this card shows up, it's always a more gentle reminder. Even though for some people they would consider this deck a darker themed deck, for me, the reminders are very gentle. They're just very clear when they show up with the Oracle of the Shapeshifters deck. And so with Mermaid in a Koi Pond, the message really for me is like it's time to stop and reevaluate what are you covering up or hiding about yourself, and how can you change that so that you're actually being yourself. When this card shows up for other people in readings, I've seen a great deal of the time the message is, do you know who you really are? Do you remember what you were passionate about at a different time in your life? And do you remember what really made your soul sing and your spirit sing? And if you can't remember that, then it's really time to stop and think about it. And if you are able to recall and remember and go back to that time when you were feeling very inspired and passionate and really in love with your life and the way that you were headed and the goals that you had, if you're not there at this time, if you are able to remember that, if you're not there at this time, why aren't you there? And what can you do to help yourself get to that space again? And it might be that your authentic self at this time is different than the authentic self that you were at that period, but it's really about getting back to that space where you feel at home in your body, in your being, and in harmony spiritually and mentally and physically on all levels with your life and the direction that you're headed into. And as a reflection of that, with the friends that you have and the family that you are currently experiencing the family dynamic with, because that might not be the family you were born into. And I can speak for that personally myself. I have the great privilege of being able to choose my family. And so the question for me, sometimes when this card shows up, not all the time, but sometimes is, do I want to continue to be in a family dynamic with the people that I'm at this point in time choosing to be in a family dynamic with? But most of the time when this card shows up for me, it's really talking about why aren't you really being your true self? And why aren't you proud of yourself? And why aren't you giving yourself love and respect and props for being your true self? And for not needing to be what somebody else wants you to be, and what another group of people want you to be, or what the people you are working with want you to be, or et cetera, all the way down the line. And this card is always telling me, and I've always found that it's telling people who it's chosen